Hey everyone, how's life? Welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be talking about few points regarding to one's mindset which is required if they want to make a shift from a time-based income to an asset-based income. So I made a detailed video regarding the concepts of what a time-based and an asset-based income is, but just for the sake of this video I'll give you a brief explanation as to what these two types of income are. So a time-based income is an income where your income is entirely dependent on the time that you're giving towards earning that income. And an asset-based income, on the other hand, is entirely dependent on the asset that you develop over a period of time. So to clear it up, let me give some few examples. An example of a time-based income would be if you're working for a company or a firm that is a regular 9-to-5 job, or if you have a small shop, or if you have your own practice. For example, if you are a chartered accountant or a cost accountant or a doctor or a lawyer. So the thing with these types of income is you constantly need to be involved in order to earn money from these types of income throughout your entire life. So you're basically trading your time, you're giving your time, and against that you're earning money. So that is a time-based income. And asset-based income, on the other hand, like I said, you earn out of developing assets. So what could be example of some assets here? For example, if you develop a big business, or not even a big business I would say, or a system which is capable of running itself without you getting much involved in it. Or for example, if you develop, if you write a book, or if you make online videos and they become really popular after a certain period of time and you start earning money out of those videos. Or if you have a blog, or if you have developed an app. So you see, all these can be classified as assets because after a certain point of time you do not need to get involved in like actively getting involved towards maintaining those, and they will still keep earning money for you. And if you can develop those assets really nicely, after a certain point of time, the money that you will earn from those assets could be significantly more than what you would make from a time-based income. Now you might wonder, why should you listen about the required mindset which I talked about from me? Have I completely made a shift to an asset-based income? Absolutely not. In fact, I might take few years in order to do that. But I have just started, and because of that, I have started realizing in true sense what is required in terms of one's mindset when he or she wants to do something on their own, like apart from a regular 9-to-5 job. I'm a complete beginner here, and hence I thought it might be easy for other beginners to relate with someone who has embarked on the same journey. And that's the reason I'm making this video, so that other people who is planning to, or who have already started on the same path, they can relate with the points I make in this video, and somehow they can benefit out of that. So yeah, so with that cleared, let's begin. Now I'll be talking about 5 points which I feel are super important if one decides to lean towards developing an asset-based income, and one should have a mindset in alignment with this point which I'll be discussing. So the number 1 point is the mindset of learning. So normally after we finish getting our degrees and stuff, we think that okay, learning is done, now it's time to start working and earning some money. But that does not work here, though that should not be the case with anyone. But most importantly, if you are setting out to do something on your own, this attitude will definitely not work out. Though the amount of learning that you're required to do might vary from person to person depending on what you have studied in the past, or if you have already some experience in that field, but still you cannot completely run away from learning. So for example, you may have to develop new skills, you may have to understand concepts so that you can apply them in whatever you are doing, or you may have to learn about personal finance and investment, because investment is a major part of an asset-based income. And you have to constantly keep reading books from which you will get ideas, and maybe which will help you develop ideas on your own. So you have to constantly keep doing all these things if you want to move over to an asset-based income. And because our education system is inclined towards developing people who are ready to become the best employee for any company, we need to re-educate ourselves when we want to do something on our own. And that's the reason we need to make learning a crucial part of this journey all along. We cannot run away from that. So for me, I had to learn video editing, though I'm still an amateur and there's a lot that I can learn but I did the basics of video editing from Skillshare, and I do video editing on my iPad, so I had to learn how to do that on a software called LumaFusion. So I learned that. Then I went on to do a course on as to how you can start your YouTube channel and grow your YouTube channel. It's a course by Matt D'Avella. I did that. Then currently I am doing a course on marketing, on digital marketing, and a part of that course is as to how you can improve your social media presence and improve or increase your followers on Instagram, because I feel that's important. And I have blocked every day for at least half an hour where I can read books. The topics may range from entrepreneurship or personal development or personal finance and investment. So these are the things which I keep doing, and I intend to keep doing going forward. And since I'm still just a beginner here, there is lots and lots to learn for me. So this is something which I intend to do for the next time in few years, until I become kind of stable in what I'm doing. Okay, so the next point is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. So when you set out to do something on your own, you have to do stuff which makes you uncomfortable. So for example, speaking with strangers or negotiating with people, convincing people about what you're doing if you want them on board, maybe hiring a team, or developing habits which you never had, etc, etc, etc. So now the elements of uncomfortableness might change again from person to person depending on what they already know or what skills they already have, but there will be for sure elements of uncomfortableness when you want to do something new. So the things which I am most uncomfortable with are speaking with strangers, or even speaking on this camera, because I've always been kind of a reserved kind of guy who wanted to stay by his own and do stuff on his own. But then I thought it's not working out for me if I stay that way, and I need to break out of my comfort zone, because that's the only way you can grow. And something that I've realized over a period of time out of doing things which are uncomfortable is the more you do them, the more natural they become for you. Because initially we tend to shy away or avoid things which we are not. Oh my God! You see what happens when I speak on camera. Oh, sorry. So initially people tend to shy away from things they are uncomfortable with, but after they keep doing that over a period of time, it becomes natural for them. So it's kind of like skydiving. So it's all the fear accumulates till the point you jump out of the plane, but the moment you take that jump, you don't feel that fear anymore. So that's the way you overcome these kind of fears. You just have to do them, and after you do them, you end up conquering something which you were afraid of previously. So the third point is not caring what others think. Now when you go on to do something that majority of the people around you are not doing, you are most likely to face some sort of resistance. But if you know what you're doing, and most importantly if you know why you're doing it, it does not matter. Now there is a fine line between ignoring people who do not encourage you and taking constructive criticism and advice from them. So it's very important that you're able to make that demarcation, because otherwise you would ignore away their criticism as well, which is very important, especially in the initial part of when you're starting. So the feedback that they give you, the response which you get from whatever you're doing, it might be negative, but that's all right. But you need to work on those, and you need to improve upon what you're doing. So you need to make that demarcation as to people who are just not encouraging you, but just giving you useless advice, or giving you useless, or just being negative with you. You can completely ignore those people, and you can take on constructive criticism and advice from people who are willing to help you. So as long as you're able to make that demarcation, it's fine. So if the people around you are telling you that it's time for you to get settled, it's too late to start something or to start exploring something new, it's time to get married, it's time to have kids, and it's time to buy a house and all that kind of stuff, blah blah blah. So you have to just ignore them, because in the grand scheme of things, towards the end, what I feel is most important is you should not have any regrets as to you didn't get to do what you actually wanted to do, but you kept doing something which others expected out of you. So that is one of the biggest fears which I have in my life, and all the decisions that I take. And now I always have that factor in my mind that whether I'll have a regret towards the end that I did not get to do this. And if the answer is yes, then I always ensure that I do that. I may not do that immediately, but I always have that task or that activity or that venture or whatever it is in the back of my mind. And whenever an opportunity comes up or whenever I get a chance, I make sure that I explore it. So that's the way I think now, and I think that's the way everyone should think, because these people, the society or the peoples who do not want you to do whatever you want to do, at the end of your life, it won't matter much what they thought, but what would matter is what you wanted to do actually in your life and whether you got to do that or not. With me, when I told my family that I wanted to quit my job and do YouTube or start a website, do freelancing, or to explore and see whatever works, because whatever I was doing, I wasn't liking that at all, and it was not in alignment with what I wanted to achieve in the long term for me. They were a bit hesitant in the beginning, but when I told them and when they understood why I wanted to do what I told them, so they were very supportive, and it worked out quite well. And if you receive support and encouragement out of whatever you're doing from your family or your friends or your relatives, then it's great. But there may be a chance, I'm not saying there will be, there may be a chance that might start fading away over a period of time, because in the initial months nothing might happen for you, because when you're choosing this kind of path, there's a good chance that in the initial months or even in the initial years, nothing worthy or nothing rewarding happens out of whatever you're doing, and that is the time when you have to be the resilient the most. There is a very good chance that this might happen because of my next point, which is consistency and patience. Now, when you're trying to do something on your own, more often than not, you would not get to see any results in the initial few months or even in the initial few years. That is the time when your patience would be tested the most, because during that period of time, you would have to keep working continuously and on a consistent basis, but you would not get to see any significant result. And most of us, we come from the employee background, that we were employees previously or are currently employees, and the mindset for an employee is they work throughout the month and then they get salary at the end of the month. So there is a sense of gratification that we are working, and against that we are getting something in return. But that concept does not work at all if you are starting something on your own, because you might even have to work harder and you might even have to work for longer hours in the initial phase, but you won't get anything. So that is something which is there, and that is a mindset which you need to develop, that you need to be aware of in the initial phase, because consistency is key here. Now, why the heading was patience and consistency, because you need to be patient, and along with that you need to be consistent, because consistency is huge, and that serves as the basis of what will happen a few months or few years down the line. Now, why is it so that there aren't any results in this path? Because you see, the growth that happens when you do something on your own, or the growth in the path towards developing an assets-based income, it's not linear. So a linear growth looks something like this, and the growth that happens in this case is an exponential growth. So it would look something like this. So in this phase, there won't be much results, but then this period is like the accumulation phase, where all your efforts are getting accumulated, and you do not know when it will blow up, but it sure will. So you just have to stay consistent, and that's why I said consistency is key here. You have to stay consistent and keep doing your work during that initial phase. For me, I'm in that initial phase. I take hours to create a video, and sometimes I even take an entire day to create an intro or to create a thumbnail for a video, but I barely get any views or likes. But I need to stick with it. I know that I need to stick with it and keep doing this consistently for a long period of time, at least 1 year or 2 years, and that's when that exponential growth would come. And the thing is, I do not know when that would come. So that might come after 80 videos, that might come after 50 videos, after 60 videos. I do not know when that would come, but I know it will come, because there is one thing that one of my favorite YouTubers by the name of Ali Abdaal, that there is something that he says.
And the thing I say is that if you make one video every week for 2 years, then I 100% guarantee it will change your life. I can't put any numbers on it. I can't tell you you'll have 100,000 subscribers or how much money you'll be making, but I can 100% guarantee it will change your life. At the very least, in terms of the skills and the experience and the contact and the friends you're going to make through that process. But you have to put out one video a week, and you have to do it for at least 2 years.
So that is something which inspires me, and I think that, okay, if I keep doing, if I'm able to keep doing this consistently for at least 2 years, then something might happen, and that's a chance that I'm willing to take, because like I said, I did not want to have any regret that I did not try this, and I did not see how it would turn out if I kept on doing this. You need to have a strategy though. You just can't keep doing anything blindly, though you are consistent, but if you do not have any strategy, or if you do not make any intentional improvements, it might not work out even if you keep doing it consistently. I mean, you might get some results, but it might not turn out to be what you are expecting it to be. So have a strategy, keep making intentional improvements every week or every day in whatever you're doing, and if you're able to do that consistently, it's a guarantee that you will have success at some point of time. Now the fifth and the last point is self-discipline. This I feel is the most important among all the factors that I have discussed so far. So when we are in a job, it's very easy for us to remain disciplined, because we cannot just start or leave our office whenever we want. So we are already part of a system, and that is compelling us to remain disciplined regarding the work that we are doing. But when we are working on our own, there is no one watching. There is no one to tell us when to start or when to stop, or as to how long we should work. That is something we need to decide for ourselves. So that becomes hugely difficult if we are not self-disciplined. And on top of that, there are numerous distractions in today's lives waiting for you in this device, which has sort of become like an additional limb for our body. So, watching a movie, browsing Netflix, browsing social media, playing games, etc. All these are few seconds away. And that is the reason I try to keep applying various techniques so that I am able to stay as disciplined as possible. So one of the techniques, or one of the habits which I have started for the past few months is making a checklist on a daily basis. This is something which I never did in my life, but now I have started doing it, because when you tick off a particular task, you complete a task in a particular day, and then you tick that off from your task list, there is a sort of satisfaction which I feel that, okay, I did this today. And also it gamifies the entire experience. So it makes the entire act of completing and ticking off the thing as sort of like a game which you're having. So that is something which helps me, and slightly helps me and keeps me motivated to keep completing the tasks that I have for the day. Also, there are other techniques which I keep applying. For example, whenever I sit for work, I use the Pomodoro technique, or if I'm feeling lazy or if I'm procrastinating, I use the 5-second rule. So, and there are various other techniques as well which I keep exploring, and I try to keep applying them in whatever I'm doing, which help me to stay as self-disciplined as possible. Because once you're self-disciplined, all the other factors are sort of taken care of. So this was the last point, and which I feel is the most important point, the mindset of staying self-disciplined. So those were the 5 points which I wanted to talk about. If someone wants to do something on their own and develop an asset-based income, if you venture into this path, keeping these 5 factors in your mind, you would be better prepared, and the journey will be a lot smoother for you. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you check the one which I made regarding the 5-second rule, which is one of the techniques which I follow in order to avoid procrastination and laziness and improve self-discipline. I also made a video explaining in detail about the concepts of different types of income, that is time-based and asset-based, and if you want to transition from a time-based to an asset-based income, as to how you can do that. So make sure you check that one out here. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, see you and bye-bye.